Hey there everybody, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all having a lovely day, evening or afternoon. We are back with another first impressions video of a demo I have played on Steam. This one is Acts of Blood by Exoteam. I want to say it was inspired by the Batman Arkham games and of course Sleeping Dogs more specifically, I would say. When I first started it, I thought maybe Sifu with the general atmosphere of it, but the actual gameplay is definitely more along the lines of the Batman Arkham games and Sleeping Dogs. Now, this one is a bit of a hit or miss. It seems to be a running theme that everything about the game just kind of works, but everything has at least one issue, one problem that I can think of. It doesn't all flow correctly. First off, there is voice acting. And the voice acting isn't particularly good, but it's not particularly bad either. To be honest, I appreciate the fact that they didn't opt for AI voice acting, even for like an early access demo kind of vibe. The demo itself is quite unstable. The frame rate was perfectly fine, but I found every single time I loaded it into the first level, it would just crash. I had to skip the cutscene in order to actually get into the first level. I had to skip all cutscenes so the game wouldn't crash. And no matter what I did, it would always crash unless I skipped the cutscene. I even tried lowering my graphics settings to the lowest and it still crashed, so I just skipped all the cutscenes. From what I could gather of the story, it's about a man whose family was killed and now he's hunting down the people responsible. It's a basic sort of revenge story. Right off the bat, I would say the combat itself is quite a bit janky. It feels heavy. The animations look good, but I'm fairly certain that some of them were store-bought and the transitions between animations aren't very good. I find a lot of things, especially the takedowns, the dodging and the parries, all kind of jump into position. There's no smooth transition between all of it. And even I think the most satisfying string of animations is probably the punches. Just the punches seem to string the best in terms of transitioning between each attack. But the other problem I have with it is that I couldn't always tell when punches were going to connect, whether it was me throwing the punch or whether the punch was going to hit me. Sometimes it would look like it would connect, but it didn't actually connect. And this flowed through in terms of combos and things like that. There's not really any combos. There's not too many reasons to really do more than just spam the X button on your controller and just punch, because the kick is supposed to be a heavy attack, but it's slow and clunky and just doesn't look or feel good, and to be honest doesn't even do enough damage to actually do anything. The guard break, 9 times out of 10 I used it and it wouldn't work, it wouldn't connect, so I stopped using it because I didn't even need to use the guard break, because if I punched an enemy like 3 or 4 times, their guard would break anyway. There are melee weapons, but the melee weapons felt terrible. They were slow, they were clunky. I found that 9 times out of 10 when I actually used one, it would just miss. Okay, not all the time, but frequently it would miss. There are also guns, which were just weird. When you don't aim, the guns act like a normal melee weapon, but when you aim, it turns into a third-person shooter. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really expect that, and I feel like they could have done more with it. Like if you use an execution with the gun, the gun should be involved in the execution with a shot or something. You couldn't see your ammo count or anything like that. There were no environmental takedowns. I expected maybe if I do a takedown next to a wall or something, he would smack the enemy into a wall, but instead it clips and janks out instead. All in all, I would say it's an excellent proof of concept, but it is very, very early and needs a lot more time in the oven. I really like that we're seeing more games like this though, because the only games that I can think of with this style of combat are the Batman Arkham games, the Mad Max game, the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, just really that, of course, and Sleeping Dogs. But those are the only games that come to mind with this style of combat. So I really hope they can tighten it up, fix the animation transitions, make that feel good, make sure the button responsiveness is better, because a lot of the times I felt like I was pressing the takedown button and it just wasn't happening. He wasn't doing what I was telling him to. And of course, make sure the punches actually connect, fix that up a little bit. But I feel like I'm looking forward to seeing if this manages to actually go further, because I feel like it could do pretty well. But otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, leave us a comment, leave us a like, go check out Acts of Blood yourself, yeah, hopefully you guys have a lovely day, evening, or afternoon.